experience supervising people. Where for a student, you know, if this is your first real research project, or if you've done a Master's by Research, then put down that you've done your Master's by Research. So that the ethics committee or the university committee that's going to look at your proposal are going to be happy that you have the skills. And if you don't have the skills, then your supervisors have the skills to get you out of trouble and keep people safe. And also your role in the study. So what are you going to be responsible for? And as PhD students, you're usually responsible for the design of the project and the collection of data, the analysis of data, doing the data management, which is a really important thing, and actually leading the dissemination of your results. Where my role as a supervisor would be more a helping role, a supporting role, that, you know, I'm going to help you analyse or supervise the analysis of your data and assist with the dissemination. You know, I'm part of the writing process of the journal articles, but I won't take the lead on them. Because if you're doing, I'm not sure whether you do research PhDs by publication here, you don't. No. Okay. In Australia, students can do research by publications, which mean they've got to at least publish 4 articles relevant to their research as part of their thesis, and they can put those in. Where other students do a hybrid PhD, like Dr. Wanda, who did 1 or 2 articles, and she inserted those in. But to actually do is to say you've done a PhD by review of literature, then you need to have at least 4 articles. But that's, in Australia, a lot of students don't do that because it's fairly risky, because you've actually got to get the articles accepted. Where if you're doing it by a hybrid model, you don't have to have the articles accepted. You just have to have submitted. The aims and objectives need to be very clear. So specific study aims and objectives are needed. So the aim is the overall purpose. It's the big picture of what you're going to do. For instance, I wanted to look at the acceptance of immunisation by parents for their infants and young children. So that's a fairly abstract aim, but so the objectives would be much more measurable. So I would want to discuss or explore the perspectives of the parents or the attitudes of the parents to immunisation. I'd want to I would want to document the uptake of immunisations within Australia. So you can actually measure them. They have to be measurable. And I might give you, I've got a very simple sheet that provides the verb that you put at the beginning of each objective to make it measurable. And it's like a taxonomy that you have in education. And you can use that. I use that if I'm writing objectives for an education program or for research or for performance outcomes, because they're measurable. You know, things like saying, I want to understand something. How do you actually measure understanding? You know, it's very hard. Where you can measure, you want to list something, or you want to demonstrate something, or you want to describe or discuss something. They're measurable, and they could fit into an exam paper. Think about when you're writing an objective, could I actually put this in an exam paper and students would know what to do? So, and a taxonomy has different categories. So this one that I'll give Dr. Wanda has, whether you want to look at knowledge or comprehension or skills, and so there's different verbs that you use. Dr. Wanda tells me that you know about PIPA. I find it a really useful formula to help students develop their research question, but also their question for their literature review, because it makes it very clear. So it's a formula for developing answerable questions. It makes the rest of finding and evaluating evidence much easier, and it helps refine the literature review search. So it has 5 parts: populational problem, interventional variable of interest, comparison, outcome, and time. So this is an example. Are children, which is the population, who have obese adoptive parents, which is the variable or intervention, at increased risk of obesity, which is an outcome, compared with children, which is population, without obese adoptive parents, which is a comparison, during the ages of 5 and 18, which is the time. So you can see you can write them. Often, though, that you'll find that you won't have a comparison, and that's acceptable. And so you just put, if you're saying, you just say that in your literature review or in your research that this does not have a comparison. So, see how I've got the C bracketed off? That just means there's no comparison. So, in pre-registration nursing students, population, what are educational learning strategies, which is the intervention, teach students to respond to a person exhibiting thought disorders, which is the outcome, before graduation, which is the time. Now this is from one of my PhD students, who's a mental health nurse. So, another question is, how do pregnant women, population, newly diagnosed with diabetes, which is the intervention, or the variable, perceive the need to report their blood sugar levels, which is the outcome, to their healthcare provider during their pregnancy and 6 weeks postpartum, which is the time. So you get the idea of that. Have some of you used these? It does really help to sort of keep you on track. And that could be your title of your thesis, but you might want to have some more interesting title for your thesis. But this is certainly the question, they're the questions of your thesis. So a hypothesis. Now, I'm not a quantitative researcher, so don't ask me too many hard questions about quantitative research. I'm very much a qualitative researcher. So a hypothesis is a supposition or proposed explanation made on the basis of clinical evidence as a starting point for further investigation. And it's used in quantitative research. You don't put a hypothesis in a qualitative research project. But if you're doing mixed methods and you've got a quantitative and a qualitative component, then you would put a hypothesis for your quantitative component. So for people like me, I would have another supervisor with me who knows about quantitative research. Is there any questions so far? Is it clear? You're not picking up with me. The background section of your thesis. So this is explaining the background, scientific or other aspects to the project and why the study should be done. It provides context for the study and why it is important the study is completed. So if I was doing a project on tobacco smoking in Indonesia, then I would go to the government statistics and find out how many people they think in Indonesia smoke. And I would break that down in men and women and maybe at the age that they start smoking. So that they'd be providing, hey, this is a really important bit of study because look at all those people that are smoking. So you're justifying why you're putting so much effort into this and why it's valuable for money, because there are a lot of health implications with smoking, so you put those down as well. So is that helpful? Anyway, we can talk about that later. So the literature review. Now, literature reviews I hate doing. There are very few people, I think, in this world that like doing their literature review. But they're very important. And certainly I feel sorry for students now compared to when I did my PhD, because as you can see from the grey hair, the internet was just a very new thing, and we didn't have all those databases. And so my way of doing a literature review was sitting on the floor in a library and going through journals and spending a lot of money on photocopying. But the people that were marking the thesis really, they didn't have the same ability to go and check your references and that you had collected all the data. So it really, I feel sorry because it makes it much tougher, and the format of a literature review in nursing now is much more prescriptive. When I look at my thesis, it was very much only a commentary on the subject that I researched, which was how I was learning, how first time I was learning to be a mother. So it's very different, but it's really important. As much as I dislike them, they often provide lots of new information, and it's the students really, we encourage them to publish these literature reviews because they do add to knowledge. So the literature review, and for a proposal, you don't have to do the big literature review that you'll have to do for your thesis. For your proposal, it's just a summary, and it's not expected that you do the big literature review because you're just new at this, and you're in your first or second year. But by the end, you usually have to do. Is this right for Indonesia? From the beginning, okay. Because in our proposals we don't actually, it's much more a summary of what is there, so it doesn't have to be a complete literature review. Okay, so but our students then by their first exam that they have, which is about within 18 months of them starting, or 12 months if they're full-time, they have to be able to provide a literature review. So it's, you need to identify the gap. What gap is your research going to fill? And that's really important that you do that, because then you're telling readers that you are able to add to the knowledge. It's pointless doing research if everybody else has done that research, or you can't find any gap in the research. So you really have to put on a very critical, look through the literature with very critical eyes to make sure that you are finding the gaps. And as I said, it doesn't replace the need for a full literature review, but obviously you do a full literature review from the beginning. And doing a literature review is an art in itself, and you have to use, about prisma diagrams. You have to do those so that someone else can come along and replicate your literature review. That they can look at what you've done and do the same thing. And they should find the same sort of literature and be able to review it. Often our students go back and read, unless they've published their literature review, but even then they go back and they look at the literature again to make sure that they've collected most things. Now the research plan, so it's the study type you're going to do, quantitative, qualitative or mixed methods. A lot of students now do mixed methods, and I think that's happening here as well, because the old divide of quantitative is much better than qualitative, I think has been debunked, and people realise that they both have a valuable thing to add. The quantitative will give you the numbers and significance of things, but the qualitative will give you the depth and the context. So you also need to put the setting of your research or the location, the study duration, how long it's going to take, the method to be used, the outcomes and the significance and references. So the method, there are lots of things you need to think about. The study population, recruitment, how you're going to go about that. The number of participants, inclusion and exclusion. The treatment or intervention you're going to use if you're going to do that. If you're going to have a control group, if you're going to randomise, or if you're going to follow, and if you're going to follow a longitudinal work or outcomes. And even in qualitative, we often do longitudinal work. For instance, my PhD, I interviewed mothers during pregnancy, then 6 weeks after they'd had the babies, then at 6 months, and then I brought them together as a group to talk around 9 months. So in the method, if you're doing quantitative, you need to think about the statistical considerations and the data analysis. Things like the power of your study and working out how many participants you need is really important. You need ethical considerations, you need safety considerations and identified risks. For instance, with my work, I work often with lots of parents that are in vulnerable situations. I do work in New South Wales prisons, and so there are lots of safety risks that I have to consider, both for the mothers that I interview and the fathers that I interview, as well as for myself, because I'm going into a risky situation. So the university want to make sure that I'm safe so that they don't have to pay my family huge amounts of money if something happens to me. So, that's really important, because research should not put anyone at risk, including yourself. For instance, a lot of my students do work in the community, looking at home visiting programs, or they go into the parents' home to interview them. So we have a process where they have to ring in myself or the other supervisor and tell us that they're going into the house now, and we have a plan that if they don't ring us after an hour and a half, then we have to ring them to see if they're okay, and they just volunteer and check out. And if not, then if we can't contact them, then we have a safety procedure that we go through to make sure that they are okay, because it's really important. And usually the students will not, they'll check things like domestic violence, so that they won't go into a house if there's domestic violence. They will invite the parents to meet them somewhere, like a cafe or a local park, where they're not concealed. Data management is really important. In Australia, it's become really a high priority that we make sure that our data is protected and that it's stored for the length of period. It's it's either 5 or 7 years that it's stored. For children, I think it's something like 21 years that it's got to be stored. So we have quite strict procedures about storage and disposal of data. We have to de-identify data, and I can imagine it's quite similar here. So we have to de-identify data so that nothing in the data that is published will be able to identify the person, their job and their age and all those sorts of things. So, age is fine, but if they live in a small town, then you have to not say what town they're in. Also, things like funding is really important to disclose where your funding comes from and whether there is funding or not. A lot of our students are on scholarships, so they disclose they're on a scholarship, which leads into conflict of interest, which is if they're getting money from a drug company and researching a new medication that drug company puts out, that's a real conflict of interest, and I don't think the university would allow that. So those sorts of things are really important. Like I have to disclose every time I do research at Tresillian that my chair is sponsored by Tresillian because it's a clinical chair. It doesn't cause me any problems to do that, but it's about being very transparent in your research. Dissemination of results. So how will you do this? Dissemination is really important. To just do your 3 years as a PhD student and not write a paper or present it at conferences is nearly unethical. Because why have you done that? Why have you wasted the participants' time in asking them questions and then you haven't published your research? So it's really important. Besides, it's essential for your careers. You need to have publications for your careers, unfortunately. You may be a fantastic teacher or researcher, but in the university, unless you've got publications, they don't like it. Because in Australia, a lot of publications mean that the university get more money from the government. And the higher the rating of the journal, the more you get. So peer-reviewed journals, conference presentations, newsletters to participants, report to the organisation that we're working on. I give a report to Tresillian on research I do at Tresillian, and there is a really fabulous, it's not like a journal, but it is, it's an online journal, and it's called Conversation. Have you seen this? It's where the media goes to collect evidence and to look at what the latest research is so that the journalists can then contact the researcher and write articles about it and interview you, and so it's really important to write. We just did some research for a large grant in Australia looking at the admissions to early parenting centres, and we wrote an article about it and put it in the Conversation. And I wasn't the lead researcher, but the lead researcher for the next month has been getting phone calls from journalists. She's been on the TV, she's been on radio, talking about her research, about our research. So, it helps with the impact factor for your research. And it's a really great place to go to find what the latest research is. There's lots of stuff that I'm interested in around parenting, immunisation, and lots of articles that put research into lay terms, into easy to read terms. So it's worth having a look. So when you get this, you'll have that link.
Professor, yes, I asked about the conferences is open or
Anyone?
anyone.
Yeah, anyone. Yeah, it's open. Multidiscipline, and it's funded by universities. For instance,
UTS puts funding into it, as well as someone in Germany, universities in Germany and England. They all contribute so that this is a place where evidence is brought together so that people in the community can look at the evidence and journalists can pick up stories.
Is it also reviewed first or?
Yes, well, it's not peer reviewed as such, but it's, the editors look at it and make sure that it's fine. So it's a really worth having a look at. And often I look at it because it often then gives me a lead to who's writing what, and I can then search for that author and put, the university website and see the sort of research they've got, their recent papers. They often give links to themselves and they or to research. So it's worthwhile having a look at it. Free, yeah. So if you just Google the conversation, it'll come up, I'm sure. Okay, that's it. Now I want to hear about your research.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
That no one else has done, and that's why you do your literature review, so that you find that gap. So that's what you're looking at. And the gap may only be a really small gap, but that's what makes your research original. No one else has really looked at that. Or if they've looked at it, they've looked at it in a different way to you. They might have done a quantitative study. There might be one person in the world that's done a quantitative study on your topic. And you think, okay, well that's really nice, I can build on that. But, I want to know what the participants think about this. And, I might also I might redo the quantitative study, but I might add the qualitative as well. And, the study might have been done in England, and I might think, well, I wonder if the same findings would be applicable in Australia. So I would do a similar thing, but because it's been done in a different context, it would make it original. Okay, does it make sense?
Yeah, so the replication study
Yes.
can be accepted as an original study because it is in different context.
In a different context, yeah.
Can you explain more about what you mean of different contexts?
Different contexts. Well, your context of nursing in Indonesia is very different to my context of nursing in Australia. Similarities, I'm sure. We all have the same ethos or, the same way of doing some things or thinking about some things, but because of the different cultures, there are different things that you would do than I would do. So does that make sense? So different context. So but even in Indonesia, it's a different context if you're doing something in the centre of Jakarta than if you're doing something out in, say, Bali. Because there's a different religion and there's a different culture, all those sorts of things.
So you have to put the differences.
Yes.
Like
Yes. Think about your proposal as selling your research. This is why it's important. This is why I'm going to spend 3 years and thinking about this, and because even though you might have a grad and the people that are looking at might put in any money, it's still about time. You're taking up your supervisor's time, and that's a cost to the university. What the university wants, and I'm sure it's the same here, is they want to know that your research is doable within the 3 years.
And you'll often, the supervisors will say to you, okay, that's a fabulous idea,